Hey, Shalom, Shalom, want to start off souls, but give no praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kadash, the belongers, the apostles of great mercy, and honors you brothers doing work with the most high in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh, that's the real name of whom the world ignorantly calls God, Jehovah, or Yahweh, his real name is Yahweh, and the Son's true name is Yahweh Shai, and when we pray Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba meaning in, Ha meaning then, Sham meaning name, so Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, right? So it's a quick one. Is basically Russian PM signs decree banning grain exports to Eurasian Economic Union until June 30th, and that was actually something I didn't know about the Eurasian Economic Union, right? Which is basically is an economic union of post-Soviet states located in Eastern Europe, Western Asia, and Central Asia, right? And you just basically look down here. Right, it says Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, and then you have observers in Cuba, Moldova, and Uzbekistan, right? So, yeah, it says banning sugar exports and outside the union until August 31st, right? So, yeah, I mean, that union and then outside of that union until the 31st of August, right? And, a little later on, I saw this one as well. Argentina halts soy exports as food protectionism soars, right? And, you've got all of these different meat substitutes, which will be made from soy and this and the other. I forget the other major producers of soy in the world. But basically, what you're seeing is the collapse of this, global food system, this global food network, right? So, hey, don't be surprised if you start seeing um, more and more of your, store favorites not being available, okay? Because that's definitely the direction that, we're going into, okay? So second Ezra 6:22 says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And is the thing, you could almost say this to people and they'll almost believe it can't happen, despite it having happened literally just 2 years ago. I remember what do you call it? I remember going to the stores down here, basically taking videos, and they were empty, man. It was absolutely empty, and it was funny because to me because I remember having been a couple of months before that back in my home, country where I was born, a country that was known for great inflation and this, that, and the other, and their stores were full, whereas then you come to England and these stores were empty, right? And I remember trying to explain to my cousins back in the country where I was born, just how, um, I was trying to, when you're trying to drop gems, without going in too deep. Basically, I was trying to explain how over here in the West, everyone is reliant, basically on the system, right, that E has set up, right, and that's one of the curses, right. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 48, right? It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And that's where we're at, man. He has put the yoke of iron on our necks. That's happened. Right now he's got all of these this whole system designed in such a way wherein no matter what it is that we want, we've got to go to this man, right? You want to, live off grid. Guess what? He's going to come and he's going to find you and give you a fine for living off grid. I'm saying that, jokingly. But for instance, over here in the UK, you can't, for instance, legally speaking, you can't, for instance, just go camping, right? You can't just find a forest somewhere and go camping. No, if he finds you, he can be like, yo, where's your permit to be here, right? Yeah, there are certain places where, and once again, not saying that will actually be enforced, but just, that is just the world that we live in, okay, where E gives you permission, to do X, Y, and Z, right? But because of the society that he's created, right, where food comes in when he says what says it does, water is whether it's municipal water or bottled water, whatever have you. Whether it gets to where you live is all dependent on the system that Esau has set up, right? So when you're seeing all of these things happen, all right, you know, those that are good, yeah, those that are in the know, we're like, yo, oh shit, okay, is that what's going on? Okay, okay, right? Because that's one of the things we've been commanded to do, is to basically measure when we see these things happen, right? Measure where we're at. And this is Second Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest part of the signs past, which I've told thee before. And where were we told these things in the prophecies? So like, yeah, in the prophecies and the precepts and everything, right? We were told these things, right? And then now it's then just a matter of, okay, cool, like ticking off things. It's been like, okay, cool, we're this much closer, right? So then shall that understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So all of these different things are all linked up, right? Because they're all some of the prophecies that are to happen, right? And a lack of bread, that is a prophecy, right? Famines. This is Job 5:20. It says, In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Right? So this is the benefits of doing the work of the Lord, right, and hope, being of his hopeful elect. Because if you're of his elect, the Lord is gonna protect his elect, right? Whereas everyone out here is gonna be, going crazy and, just bugging out. What does the scripture say of the men of the Lord? It says, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. That's Isaiah 33:6. Because it's understanding that actually these aren't bad events. These are great events. These are the events, that lead us and bring us closer to deliverance, closer to, getting the hell up out of this kingdom, right? Because once again, we're seeing that. We're like, okay, is this where we're at? Okay, we are, we're getting close, right? This is Sirach 49:10. Says death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation. And this is what we're seeing, man. Death, bloodshed, right? Strife, sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, right? All of these things, we're actually seeing all of them right now, right? Some to different degrees than others, right? But that famine, people are, and this is what Esau does. He's very good at his witchcraft, man. The Lord made a perfect devil, because right now everyone's just, eye focus on, the whole Ukraine thing, right? Not truly understanding the, the impact, right? Of what is happening to the global markets, to the global food security, right? I was watching the elders out there in Dallas, right? And what you call it, the elder Ariala basically made the point. It's like, look, Ukraine exports like the 25% of the world's wheat, and then Russia's 18% of the world's wheat. And that's basically 43% of the world's wheat. Wheat, I forgot whether it's wheat or grain, right? But that's 43%, right? Totally. But people be like, oh, just will show them Russians. It's like, nah, G, you do realize where your food comes from, right? You do realize that your cereal has wheat, your bread has wheat, and in fact, I believe there is actually an example in here somewhere. No, it's not this one. I think it may be. I saw it in one of the responses here. Bugs. Yeah, here you go. Yes. So basically, you see this one. It's subs the one at the top, right? So meat it is, and then the next person is like, what do you think they feed cows? Right? You see it there. So this is the stupidity of the people in this kingdom that don't really understand what is going on. But let me finish this. This is verse 10 says, these things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. And once again, for the sakes of the wicked comes the new destruction. Right? All of these, these times of trouble, they're here for the wicked, man. Right? So if we be of the elect, the Lord is going to protect us. You read Psalms 91. All right. Um, Let me see what else. Yeah, let me get this. I'll finish on this. This is Romans 8:35. Who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? Right. So basically, those, once again, Yahweh Shem Shara would be of that number. But those who are, of the elect, nothing's gonna take them away, because these are all trials and tribulations, right, of our faith, right? But in all of these tests, we must needs be successful, right? We can't fall into, into temptation, fall into trusting Esau, right? Now we've got to have faith in Yahweh Shem Shai in these days, right? So that when the famine comes, we can ultimately overcome it, right? When the tribulation, when the persecution, because that's another big thing that's coming, that persecution, and when you look at the technology that this devil has, right, you can see just how easy it is for Esau to basically, create an artificial, just to basically create something artificial, man, to basically make it look like someone has said or done something, right? This is the kind of world we live in, man. It's just AI world. So that persecution's coming, but so is the famine. So is all of these things. But hey, the Lord ultimately is gonna protect His elect, right? But He's gonna try them. So you read that in Zechariah 13:8, right? You read that in several places throughout the scriptures, man. But as always, Lord's will I was edifying. Until next time, I say, Shalom.